lordships and your ladyships, good afternoon. First, I want to thank UNESCO for inviting the Ministry of Information to be part of this training program, which is designed to deepen the capacity of judges in dealing with matters of freedom of expression and the safety of journalists. I also want to thank all the partners who have shown interest in the development and protection of the Ghanaian media space and have supported this event in various ways. You are very familiar with the fact that the governance framework of our country, the Constitution 1992, has at its core a special place for the media. This role is not meant to be in name, but is designed to afford all the other actors in our democracy, the executive branch, the legislature, you, the judiciary, citizens, and independent bodies, a safe and a fair platform on which matters of national importance may be discussed. Over the years, successive actors in our national life, from the various constituencies of our governance architecture, have strived to give meaning to this intention of the framers of our Constitution. Sometimes we have succeeded, at other times we have not. A recent survey by the Ministry of Information on the issues of importance to the media as an industry in Ghana highlighted a number of matters that need urgent attention. One, the general capacity gaps of the media, which is occasioned by the overwhelming number of practitioners who have had no formal training in journalism. Two, and until recently, the failure by successive administrations to pass and implement access to information laws, the RTI, as Dennis spoke about. An increase, 3, in reports of infringement on the safety of journalists and media practitioners. And 4, the absence of a broadcasting law to support state institutions so that they can better regulate, in particular, the broadcasting sector. My lords, to address some of these issues, we at the Ministry of Information commenced a series of engagements with stakeholders in the media industry to develop programs with the objective of supporting the Ghanaian media. We hold the view that the practice in the industry where actors operate in silos and do not collaborate to plan and to execute interventions is one of the challenges of the sector. Our engagements since 2019 have led to the development of a number of interventions aimed at supporting the industry. And the collaborators we have worked with include the National Media Commission, the Ghana Journalists Association, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, the Private Newspaper Publishers Association, the educational institutions such as the GIJ, etc., civil society groups in media, and selected leading journalists and media houses. 4 major programs have been rolled out. First, a media capacity enhancement program, which targets the training of at least 250 practitioners a year to help deal with the huge capacity gaps I spoke about earlier. It is worth noting that this program is not implemented by the ministry. The ministry and partner agencies only provide funding to the independent working committee selected by stakeholders themselves to plan and to execute this program. Second is a coordinated mechanism for the safety of journalists, which project is being implemented by the National Media Commission, the constitutionally established body designed to protect the media industry. The third is a program for the full and effective implementation of the Right to Information Act, which includes the training and deployment or designation of RTI officers to the almost 600 government offices across the country. It also includes the setup of the RTI Commission, which is today making impressive strides in ensuring compliance with the Act. And then finally, broad-based consultations on a new broadcasting bill, which will assist state institutions better regulate the broadcasting sector. My lords, gathered here today, we are strengthening our cooperation to deal with issue number 2, as I mentioned earlier. Our task is to build a more robust ecosystem that ensures that the infringements on the safety of journalists are reduced to the barest minimum, if not totally eradicated from our democracy. According to the UN Plan of Action on the Safety of Journalists, nation states must take steps to prevent violence against journalists and punish perpetrators. Also, SDG 16, which my friend Charles Abani spoke about, requires all countries to demonstrate progress in ensuring public access to information and protecting fundamental freedoms, which include the right to free expression and the safety of journalists. Ghana's first step of establishing the coordinated mechanism is aimed at giving direction to the safeguarding of the media space. The NMC's mechanism, which the executive branch of government wholly supports, seeks to achieve four things. One, to provide regular training for state and non-state actors on the safety of journalists and the need to ensure that journalists and media practitioners are not harmed simply because they are doing their job. Two, to provide annual accountability platforms for reported infringements on the safety of journalists. Three, to provide validation framework on reported infringements on the safety of journalists. And finally, to publish an annual domestic report on the state of media and the safety of journalists. While the National Media Commission has started well and has successfully used its mechanism to resolve some of the early reports of infringements, I am sad to say, despite all the talk that we occasionally put up when incidents occur, financial support to the NMC to effectively execute the mechanism has not been encouraging. The state, development partners, CSOs, and even the private sector have all not invested as much as we should in supporting the NMC to forcefully execute the mechanism. I applaud all who raise their voices when reports of infringements come up, but I urge us all to see the intervention aimed at curbing it as a priority which should be funded for effective execution. This week's training is a step in the right direction, and I want to once again celebrate UNESCO, one of our partners, for this. I call on all other stakeholders to do more collectively in supporting the framework and the training part of the framework. As Sir Dennis mentioned, about 400 judges across the country. We're starting with 25 today. We will need collaborators to put a lot more resources into this so that we can extend this training to all members of the judicial service across the country, the judiciary in particular across the country, and additionally also deal with the training of prosecutors as well. This training should hopefully stimulate some keener response from the officers of the judiciary when infringements are brought to your attention. My lords, yes, the wheels of justice may grind slowly, but the feedback I have from my media colleagues is that we believe some quick punitive action targeted at the perpetrators of infringements against media practitioners will be appreciated. It will be the strongest message to the next batch of state and non-state actors who may even contemplate attacking a media practitioner in the line of his work that it is not acceptable, and more importantly, the court will severely punish you if you dare. It will be a message stronger than any admonition that anybody can give. If we want these acts, which frankly are a disgrace and an embarrassment to our democracy, to stop, please punish these acts with speed, regardless of who commits them. My lords, another matter that I'd like to highlight on this platform is a set of findings that were put out by Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, in the recently published World Press Freedom Index. Contrary to initial reports that Ghana had dropped 30 points exclusively because of an increase in infringement of the safety of journalists, a recent stakeholders meeting of the industry players observed that while it is important to urgently address the matter of safety of journalists, the RSF says our biggest problem when it comes to freedom or press freedom in Ghana today, our biggest problem, according to the RSF, is the poor economic status of journalists and media houses. According to the 5 parameters assessed by their new methodology, Ghana scored appreciably high in the legal framework area, 81.4%, in the socio-cultural context, 79.6%. Ghana also scored above average and moderately high in the political context, 66%, and the safety of journalists, 62%. As I've mentioned earlier, we are committed to work together with stakeholders to improve our performance in these parameters. But the parameter in which Ghana performed its lowest was the economic context, where we scored 47.2%. And this refers to the economic conditions of journalists on one hand, and the financial sustainability of media houses. Ghana scored under these parameters cumulatively 67.43% as an average and was ranked 60th in the new global ranking. What this suggests to us is that as stakeholders, while we are dealing with the issue of safety, we need to do more to improve the economic conditions of our media practitioners and also to improve the financial sustainability of media houses. I know my colleagues in the media do not like to talk about our internal difficulties in our own organizations. But colleagues, I assure you, if we continue to play ostrich with this, the RSF says it is our biggest problem, and it is not making us free enough to deliver on our mandate. Our scores on these indices and the consequent rankings on this new methodology will not see a significant change if we do not advocate for interventions in this area as well. I want to call on media owners to consider program syndications to increase market share and consequently revenue command, while ensuring that these revenues percolate down to the journalists who do the hard work on the ground at the end of the day. It is my hope that all the actors gathered here today will embrace the lessons that we are about to engage in and use it to enhance our collective development. In conclusion, my lords, let me reiterate my call to all stakeholders to join hands and support the media intervention programs to enable the country achieve the outcomes that we desire. I thank you and I wish you all the best.